I'm Ava. And I'm Valerie. And for our final project, we decided to do an art piece over the poem The Colossus by Sylvia Plath.
I shall never get you put together entirely, pieced, glued, and properly jointed. Mule bray, pig grunt, and body cackles proceed from your great lips. It's worse than a barnyard. Perhaps you consider yourself an oracle, mouthpiece of the dead or of some god or other. 30 years now I have labored to dredge the silt from your throat. I am none the wiser. Scaling little ladders with glue pots and pails of Lysol, I crawl like an ant in mourning over the weedy acres of your brow to mend the immense skull plates and clear the bald white tumuli of your eyes. A blue sky out of the Oresteia arches above us. O Father, all by yourself you are pithy and historical as the Roman Forum. I open my lunch on a hill of black cypress. Your fluted bones and acanthine hair are littered in their old anarchy to the horizon line. It would take more than a lightning stroke to create such a ruin. Nights I squat in the cornucopia of your left ear, out of the wind, counting the red stars and those of plum color. The sun rises under the pillar of your tongue. My hours are married to shadow. No longer do I listen for the scrape of a keel on the blank stones of the landing.
The speaker is the caretaker of the statue. She takes care of the piece and has remorse for it and is also exasperated by it. Sometimes she is frustrated and angered by the statue. On the other hand, she finds comfort in the statue by cleaning and piecing it back together sweetly. The poet uses the relationship of the caretaker and the statue to depict a father-daughter relationship that never had a deep connection. The daughter, after the father's passing, feels like she never really knew him like the rest of the world did. She desperately tries to figure him out by piecing his ruins back together to make things like they were before his passing. She is not moving on from the grief she feels, and the poet describes this by the keel of the boat never scraping the shore. She is not opening herself up to the opportunities she has because she is consumed by the desire to know why her father was the way he was. By the end of the poem, the daughter is shown curled up in the statue's ear, as she takes in the presence of his father, trying to find peace in him like she never could whenever he was alive. For our project, we chose to use clay to demonstrate how relationships, once broken, cannot be fully pieced back together. Once a connection is strained, it can never be the same. This is just like modeling clay. Once modeling clay is changed from its original form, it cannot be molded exactly how it was. While the daughter desperately tries to put the pieces of the statue back together, deep down she knows she will never fully be able to rekindle their relationship with his absence. For this demonstration, I took a piece of clay just like this, and I rolled it into a ball to change its form, but no matter how hard I try, if I try and make the clay go back to its original form, it can't be perfectly molded into its original form. For our project, we didn't need to fire any clay. However, once clay is hardened, it is very breakable. If we were careless and dropped the clay, it would break into a million pieces, just like how relationships are fragile. One careless mistake can shatter a bond. art project, we decided to base it off of the line in the poem where the caretaker talks about how she squats in the cornucopia of the statue's left ear, hiding herself from the wind and watching this beautiful colors of the sunset. So we first cut in half a styrofoam mannequin head so that we could highlight the left side of the statue's face and the left ear. Then we used the modeling clay to cover the statue and show all like the little imperfections of the statue. And then we took our little caretaker and we put her squatting in the left ear. This took about like 2 nights to dry, and once it was hardened, we painted on little cracks to represent how the caretaker has been trying to piece back together the statue.
The Colossus in the poem is a representation of the Colossus of Rhodes, which is a statue on an island next to a harbor that was destroyed one day. The extended metaphor throughout the poem is the statue itself. It represents the father's passing. The daughter physically piecing her father back together metaphorically also shows that she is emotionally struggling to cope with her father's death.
The author uses a lot of imagery in this poem to not only show how the daughter pieces the statue back together, but to also show the daughter's view of the outside world from the sanctuary she finds in the statue. She talks about the color of the red stars and the plum-colored skies as she watches the sunrise under the pillar of his tongue. However, she still says that her hours are married to shadow. While she finds comfort and warmth in sitting in the statue's ear and watching the sunrise, this connection and mourning of her father is not allowing her to move on, and she's still living in this darkness. Instead of moving on, she's stuck living under the pillar of his memory, where she could be going out and experiencing light and new opportunities in the real world on her own.
The ear is a symbol for listening and hearing. The daughter finds captivity in the shelter that is the ear. This shows her ties to her father even though he's gone.
Another important symbol in the Colossus poem is the keel of the boat. A keel of a boat is the bottom ridge of a boat, and this is important because the Colossus ruins are located near a harbor. So all the ships that are coming in and out of the harbor represent the new opportunities that are open to the daughter and also all the opportunities she's giving up. She feels so stuck to the statue that she is not willing to leave her comfort zone and experience new things. At the end of the poem, she says that she watches the keel of the boat scrape the black stones of the landing for the last time, showing how she's accepted defeat and is letting her emotional state get the best of her.
In the Colossus, Plath engages with themes of relationships. The connection between the speaker and the statue or her father is extremely important. In the poem, the main themes are death and loss, but those deaths and losses would not be a thing if it didn't stem from the relationship. The father might be the one who's dead, but the daughter is the one left suffering.
While she realizes he'll never be able to come back, she still tries to piece him back together to bring back a certain time in her life.